Welcome back to the Slice Tennis Podcast. Another week, another great vibe here with my guy Steven, myself, JP, and also, of course, right up there, the presenting sponsor, Betway. Shout out to Betway. The Miami Open has ended again. If y'all been following the show, you know that Betway got us down to the Miami Open, so we got to witness a lot of these different matches, everything going on down there. But we have an awesome episode for you guys today. We have a guest, and Steven, did you know her from before?
Did not know her from before. She did come up to us in Miami, and I'd seen her podcast, the Ground Pass Pod, on the socials, but I kind of didn't know who was behind it. So Anastasia, I gotta get her last name correct. She for Lorenzo. Yeah, she came and said hi in Miami, so I know her from there.
Awesome. But yeah, so we'll have her on this episode, and then we'll talk about the Miami Open, the winners, because we got to see a new Masters 1000 champion, and we got to see a familiar face who's been in the finals recently, but she finally got it done. Shout out to Sabalenka, shout out to Mensik. But before we get into all that, we do got to get our best bet. Steven, he made a nice little play because he knows he gave you guys, let's put the money on Djokovic to win. He was the favorite. And then as the match progresses, Steven took advantage of the live betting on Betway. And before we break that down for you, I'm going to read you guys this note from Betway that you need to hear so you can get active and get in the game. Hit an ace with Betway and get up to $200 if your first bet loses, plus 50 bonus spins no matter the result. Scan the QR code on the screen or click on the link in the details section to create an account and redeem your offer. Offer is only available for new customers. Terms and conditions apply, and this offer is not available in Ontario, and you must be 19 and up. Please play responsibly. Steven, you were being responsible in the live action. Walk us through it.
You know, they say hedge your bets, you know, when you're trying to be responsible. So Djokovic was a big favorite against Mensik. After Mensik won the first set in a tiebreaker, I did say before the match, I said Mensik's going to want to try and get this to a tiebreaker, preferably two, and he took that advice, got it to two tiebreakers, and got it done. But after the first set, he was still the plus money underdog, and I just thought, like, the way that this kid was playing, gaming Djokovic, serving like bombs, lights out. I was like, you know, there's a good chance that he pulls this out. So I had to hedge my bet there and kind of both sides. But a bet of the day I got for you here is more of like just an interesting, obscure matchup for the tennis hardcores out there in the Bucharest. So we're into the clay swing now. Obviously, after Miami, we got tournaments going on in Bucharest, Houston, and I forgot the other place, but before I lose my spot here, in Bucharest, Romania, we've got a first round match, I believe, in the ATP 250 there between Richard Gasquet and Flavio Caboli. So I don't know if you were in Romania or you're in that part of the world, even if you weren't in Romania, I would travel just to see that match because those are two beautiful tennis players playing on clay where they can express themselves even better. So yeah, if I was in that part of the world, JP, I would be making the trek to watch these two guys play, just mainly for the love of the game, because Richard Gasquet, you never know how long he's going to be around. And Flavio Caboli is one of those upstart Italian players who loves to mix it up on the dirt. The odds are like it's plus 140 as they got Richard Gasquet as the underdog, Flavio Caboli as the 182. I would take serious caution in treating Richard Gasquet as the underdog on clay in some obscure tournament. You know, maybe he's the underdog against Rafa Nadal on Philippe Chatrier at the Roland Garros, but against the guy who's like Richard Gasquet's like had more losses in like a fifth set than Flavio Caboli's probably played matches in his entire life. So just the experience differential there, I don't like that. So best bet of the day, I would say, would be rolling with Richard Gasquet as a slight underdog there. I like that.
I love it. I'm looking through here. I don't have the exact odds on it because we're going quickly, but I'm looking in Houston.
Yeah.
And I'm checking out the seeds. Jensen Brooksby could make some noise. He just beat Taro Daniel today. Mickelson beat Lerner Tien today.
Wow. Big matches.
big matches, and the guys with the buys, Nakashima, Tiafo, they're through to the round of 16, of course. So I don't know. Maybe I might throw a little cheddar on Brooksby, but
I like it. We like it. There, the other tournament I meant to mention was Marrakesh, which is in Morocco, it's the only ATP tournament in Africa all year round, and it's happening this week. Would love
that's
to get to that
iconic.
one.
I love that. Should we get into this Miami Open talk? Do we want to let Anastasia in and just have her involved in it all?
She's not here quite yet, so I was gonna say let's touch base on our weeks quickly. We got to keep it quick because we know from our executive producers how they like to hear it. So,
Yes.
JP, it's been a week and a bit since I saw your face in person. What was your last week like? How are you?
The last week was good. As always, the last week was busy, but I'm mainly looking forward to this Thursday. My mom is coming to Nashville for the very first time since I've lived here. So it's been almost 4 years, and she has not visited once. So she's coming, and I got to make sure she has a good time so that she comes back. But me and Sitton are stoked.
Love it. That's amazing to have. I'm assuming like everything about you tells me that you would have like a great relationship with your mom. Like,
oh yeah,
so
me and my mom, awesome. we're super close. She's for sure one of my best friends. In high school, my dad started to travel a lot, so it was just me and her. So we got even closer. I'm the youngest, of course. So, the youngest and their mom, we always have a bond. But what about you? What was your week looking like?
Yeah, mama's boy there. I can see that and I respect that. Another mama's boy here. I got made fun of for like not being able to do things when I left home and after high school, because like my mom would just do all my laundry, make my lunches, cook my meals, etc., things like that. So I actually took a year off before I went to university to go to Australia, like with a buddy, and like learn how to do basic life skills, like do the laundry and stuff like that, and just like figured it out on the streets essentially. So yeah, my last week though was good. And we're gonna welcome Anastasia here to the stream soon to kind of unpack Miami. But it was crazy being in Miami for 8 days. I essentially was. Then I come home and there's still a whole nother week left of the tournament, and the tournament just finished last night, and there was a rain delay, so it finished like it like disrupted my evening plans. So these tournaments are just like huge time consuming events now. So I really want to hear kind of your perspective on that and Anastasia's. But my week in general, being back in Canada, was great. It kind of was cool to be like, oh yeah, what did we do last week? We just took our 6-month-old kid across the continent, literally. And that flight back from Fort Lauderdale to Vancouver is like 6.5 hours. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know that. I feel like it would be longer.
I thought it would be, fair enough, but like that's a long flight. Like if you're in New York, I think it's about not much longer to go to like Europe from like
that is true.
That type of thing. So it's a far trip, and our son Shepherd, he did great the whole way. He is teething more now, so he's not sleeping as well. So he kind of wakes up every few hours to make sure that we're still good. I'm like, appreciate that, brother, but would appreciate it way more if you just slept. But I feel like, we're keeping it together here, so it's okay. But yeah, the topic of this show is the Miami Open recap, I would say, and no person to do it better with than Anastasia from the Ground Pass. We've got you there, Anastasia, live from where we get you from, Anastasia. Please remind me and let the folks know.
Well, I'm not home, so right now you're catching me in Charleston,
South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. Yep. I'm from Greenville, so 3 hours north.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, it's actually kind of nostalgic. Of course, it's my first day here. Had a tornado warning. Just monsoon rain, and then beautiful golden orange sunset, and you're like, yeah. I really do want to, get to the beach here and just explore the city a little bit. I think kind of what we do on Ground Pass is we encourage people to come to tournaments, and it's starting to get into travel a little bit, because it's sort of like a lot of people do travel to these tennis tournaments, and you're sort of like, okay, so then what do I do around the town kind of thing. So I'm trying to start kind of maybe exploring that situation.
Very cool. I think that's much needed content, like tournament vlogs of the city that the tournaments are in, because that's one of the great parts about following the tour is you get to see all these different places. And I'd love to I think what we want to do here is break down kind of our reaction. Maybe let's just talk about how we first met at the Miami Open, but
Okay.
we want to react to the men's winner, the women's winner, and then I want to just react to like Miami the whole tournament as a whole.
Yeah.
But I know our fans want to hear us talk about the tennis. They tell us that all the time. They say we spend too much time talking about ourselves and not about the tennis, which I respect that they want to hear about the tennis. But how we met was I'd seen Ground Pass. I'd seen you on the socials, and then me and JP are filming a piece of content on the ground in Miami. And Anastasia comes up and says, "Hey, the slice." And I was like, whenever I get recognized at a tennis tournament, it like makes my day, right? Because I'm like, it doesn't happen very often, and I'm like always mind blown that anyone recognizes me from what we do here. And then, but it was mutual this time because I was like, "Oh, you are," and then just like, yeah, name, Ground Pass, and we were on the grounds, and that was the Ground Pass day, so it was very fitting.
Yeah.
I thought, Anastasia.
Yeah, no, it was really great. I mean, first of all, you guys are recognizable in the sense that you have those sort of like chopped off rackets with the microphones. I was like, those guys, they have to be the guys from the slice. Like, come on.
Iconic.
It is iconic. And, you guys, I mean, there was a whole commotion around you. I don't know what you were doing. I haven't seen that content yet. So, but you were like interviewing people on the grounds, and it was the fan day. So we met during the sort of free fan day, which I keep saying I had just come from Indian Wells, but I hadn't. I kind of did what you did in the sense that I went to Indian Wells for a week. I went back home and then I came to Miami, but the week wasn't restful enough. It felt like I had just come from the desert. So coming from the desert to that hot, humid day, and the grounds were packed full of people, it was a shock to the system. But I loved it. I was just like, whoa, Miami, okay, we're here, we're outside.
Yeah. And it was your first time at that tournament, that venue, or no?
No, that's
Okay.
my third time at the Miami Open. But, and I don't know if we'll get into this in terms of the tournament itself and like what it's like, because I think the Miami Open gets a lot of slack a bit. It's like the stepchild of the Sunshine Double. But there was something about this year that was different, and I haven't put my handle on it yet. But I remember walking on the grounds, and the first time I heard English was 30 minutes in. Like,
Yeah.
it is such an eclectic international crowd. The
Yeah.
Brazilians took over. It was Brazil. We were in
Took
Rio.
over.
It was great,
Yeah.
but it was, I don't know, it was so vibrant, like coming, and maybe it was the direct contrast. I had
Right.
literally been at Indian Wells for 8 days. I was at Indian Wells for 8 days. It is a very different tennis scene. We call it tennis paradise, but it's very like they get the sport, they get the game. I kept telling my co-host Nick that even on the practice courts, people were, sort of, they knew the etiquette. Like, they were
Right.
quiet during the points. They didn't move when they were in the rallies. And I was like, it's practice.
Right.
We're just to the
Yeah.
side.
Relax.
Relax. But that was the sort of crowd that was there. The tennis IQ was probably super high. That area, it's golf or tennis. So that's what they were focused on. I feel like in Miami, you get more of the casuals. Like, people were just there to have fun and just hang out. And I think maybe that was the big difference that I noticed more this year. I kind of loved it. It was just, people were having fun, which I liked.
Yeah, and I've been to both, and Indian Wells, yeah, it seems more like corporate, more kind of establishment, which, nothing wrong with that. A lot of like hardcore tennis fans go there, but yeah, Miami's a party. Like, and to your point about the casuals, like on that free day, which the content we were filming there was a ticket giveaway. So with our partner Betway, they gave us tickets to give, or they gave us tickets, and we decided to give it on to fans. And the fans we gave it to were like, they were just there for the free day, and I got the sense that they kind of weren't coming. They didn't have tickets, or they said they didn't have tickets for the rest of the week.
Yeah.
You know, and the tickets we gave them were like nice tickets, like, you know, they're sitting down close to the court, and like, you know, so they got that kind of experience. And I do feel like that the location of the Miami Open brings new tennis fans in the door way more than a place like Monte Carlo or Indian Wells. Love those tournaments. They're insane. Like, you know, talk about these tournaments, like they're amazing, but there's not like a random new person who hasn't checked out tennis that's kind of maybe can't typically afford it rolling into Monte Carlo. But in Miami, there is, and it was cool to see the tournament doing some things to make it more accessible to more people.
Yeah, totally. I love how you put it there, where it's like, there's no new person that's going to be like, oh, let me just go to Palm Springs and go to Indian Wells.
Yeah,
that's a whole, you know,
Right.
it's like you're planning that sort of trip.
Totally. And it's expensive, and yeah, in a world that's becoming increasingly more unattainable for chunks of the population, I thought Miami was cool, and it gave me that party vibe. So I mean we're talking about it now, so we should maybe just give our kind of thoughts on that tournament and the tournament venue in general. Like, JP, what were your thoughts? Because that was your first time at that tournament. It does, Anastasia was saying, it does get a lot of slack. Some people call it some people love it. I think some people don't like the tournament. Like, they call it the parking lot. Like, there is parts of the tournament which logistically aren't as good as others, I would say, like Indian Wells or like some others I've been to. But JP, what was your kind of vibe from the grounds?
Yeah, man. I mean, I love it. I love Miami in general. I love South Florida.
Yeah.
And the whole vibe around it, minus tennis. And like Anastasia is saying, to come in, like, you just get the vibe in the tournament. And it is a different vibe than any other tournament. But everything, especially because I'm a newer tennis fan, really started following in 2019. And when you show up to Miami, it's very easily digestible, where I feel like it could be very overwhelming of like, man, where the heck do I go? But you walk in, you get to the main area. They have all their little shops and stands and everything. Practice courts right here, grandstand right here, your other courts here, and then stadium here. And it's like, okay, cool. This is all close. It's all walkable. They got great signage everywhere. So I think it's a great tournament for newer tennis fans. It's an easily digestible tournament. And I love the practice point, because I've only been to Miami and Cincinnati and the US Open, but the practice courts at Miami, I just love player and fan interaction. And so, you know, Dimitrov, I was talking about it when we were down there. He's engaging with the fans. Kyrgios, obviously, he's engaging with the fans. And it just makes you feel that much closer to the sport and to the athletes, which says a lot about the tournament too. I think it's a great tournament to get new fans there, because you feel way more connected to it all.
Yeah. I love what you said there, actually, about fan interaction, because if you go to Indian Wells, I think the practice courts are more accessible in the sense that they're right there. You can get to all of them. While in Miami, 3 of them are pretty accessible, but then the rest are like far in the deep. You can't get next to them. But you get more interaction in Miami than you get at Indian Wells. And I do think it's because of the level of fan at Indian Wells. And I'm not saying it's good or bad. It's just different. So at Indian Wells, there is that sort of like, okay, we're at a tennis tournament. We're going to sit down and be quiet. And then we're going to wait till they're done. And then they're going to come over and then they're going to sign. And it's going to be great. You know, there's that sort of level. Yeah. You will go to obviously some practices, like especially the ones with Carlos Alcaraz. Like the kids just love interacting with him and he'll interact back. But you're right, in Miami, it's like we just kept seeing video after video of tennis players just interacting with fans, which you wouldn't see at Indian Wells. And I think it's because the fans were, not that they weren't respectful, but they just felt more connected. Yeah. That they could just be like, oh, hey, I love the way you're hitting, you know, whatever it is. Right. So I kind of love that point, JP. Like, it's so good.
Yeah, it's the party, man. Miami's got the energy. Yeah, a lot of the players were talking about it before. You know, Djokovic in his runner-up speech was talking about, you know, how much he enjoyed being in Miami. I don't know if you guys caught that, but he said like he had enjoyed that tournament more than he probably had any tournament in, like, you know, 5 years, I think he kind of said. I was kind of having fun with it all tournament, watching the big seeds lose early, you know, talking about maybe all these players were having too much fun in Miami in the lead up, too much Vamos. And then Djokovic, did you guys catch this? Djokovic shows up to the final with like a black eye, a shiner, or someone said it was an eye infection. Does anyone know what was going on there?
So I'm hearing it's a sty.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm hearing it was. I haven't gotten, I don't see any sort of doctor's report or anything, but
Yeah.
from what I'm understanding, it's a sty and it's something he's had before. If I'm understanding it correctly, but at first I really thought like, what club did you go to last night? Like what?
Who farted on your face?
Yeah.
And how are you coming in here in pink eye?
Like,
Before the final, Novak, I'm like, it sounds a little bit the sty. I mean, it makes sense, but it sounds a little bit like the dog ate my homework type of thing. Like maybe he was sick of waiting around. He was making his own fun. I don't know.
Dude, I will say this though. I don't know if either of y'all have had styes. I've had styes before, not from being in Miami, but it's horrible. It hurts to blink your eye. There's like the fluid that kind of goes, and it's just it's a nightmare.
I haven't had one. How about you, Anastasia?
No, I haven't had one, but even seeing it on TV, I thought, wait, is he playing? Because, I didn't know how, I don't know, does it affect your vision? He kept putting the eye drops in. Like,
Yeah.
it just did not seem ideal for a final.
He actually is putting eye drops in a lot anyways, because I believe he wears contacts, right? And that's always been a thing for him. They kind of bother him. But I saw it and I was like, that just looked like a classic shiner to me. And I was like, I could kind of imagine him getting an elbow that when they're playing like soccer to warm up with or something, because he's always kind of like competitive and playing with his buddies and like going kind of hard.
Right.
But that was an interesting aspect to the final. So let's break down, or let's react to the final, like the winners. So let's start with Jakub Mensik beating Novak Djokovic. It's been less than 24 hours since that happened, and I kind of still can't believe the level that Mensik brought. I was confessing to our viewers on the show last night that was the first full match I'd watched of him play, like start to finish. I'd seen clips of a lot of them, but and I'd seen like obviously what his game possesses, but I was blown away by how well he stayed in the rallies with Novak, because he was not, a lot of the talk beforehand was like, how well is he going to serve? Like he's got the server's chance, but to me, he won it in the rallies and it was unbelievable to watch. So yeah, Anastasia, what was your reaction to him winning in the way that he did?
So I'm definitely more familiar with Mensik. I think I'm kind of, after the whole sort of big three, I kind of skipped a generation and I'm just like, where are the kids at? The kids are doing all right. The kids are good. And I remember last year actually being at Indian Wells and watching Mensik against Ben Shelton. And if you look at most of his matches from last year, Mensik had his arm wrapped. Like he had some sort of arm or elbow thing most of last year. But yeah, I was talking about this on our last podcast, how all these kids, Lerner Tien, Alex Mickelson, Joao Fonseca, freaking Carlos, they're all getting these headlines. And here's Jakub Mensik, and nobody cares. No one, he's just going through the draw. And I'm like, he's 19 too, guys. He's really good too, guys. And he goes on to win it. So it was the final I wanted. I did want Jakub Mensik versus Novak Djokovic. All respect to Taylor Fritz, but that head-to-head is just, it's very demoralizing. I didn't have
like
any
Fritz
hope.
Djokovic, you mean?
Yeah, sorry, the Fritz Djokovic, sorry.
Right.
That's what I meant. But yeah, it's just rough. It's really rough. And so the final I wanted was Mensik Djokovic. I didn't know if he could win, but I knew that they played well against each other. They've played before. It was competitive. So I didn't know if he was going to be able to get over the line. And I'm very happy he did. Like I really do think we're entering a new, era. If we want to like label things, we're entering a new era. I think these young 2022 next gen are skipping over a generation, really.
Oh yeah.
And how about the next gen finals as a tournament? The players.
Thank you.
I mean, it is insane. Like just last year, it's I mean, I saw a tweet earlier. I wish I need the full list in front of me, but they are. I mean, they have ads for 20 years about why you want to be a part of the next gen finals.
Oh yeah.
I have been such a stan of next gen, and I get it. And maybe because I'm not such a purist as a
Mhm.
fan, I'm open to change. So the whole scoring thing never really got, I'm not upset by it. I'm not sort of like, oh my God, it has to be to 6 or whatever it is. And I think it was the Yannick Sinner year with the carrot that
Mhm.
he ate the carrots. But the ATP did this sort of long form documentary about the next gen. And I
Yeah.
remember watching that and thinking, this tournament is awesome. This is like the best idea ever. I'm like, WTA needs to get on this and have their own version of the next gen.
Seriously.
And yes, so last year was really good. The year before, I think, yes, the first year that it was in Riyadh, I think new location,
Right.
it wasn't as great as all the previous years, even though they had my very favorite element and then they didn't bring it back, the one where they kind of like tested all the kids with their jumping and running and
Yeah.
speed stuff. I loved that part of it. But
Wait, they
you're
tested the
right.
players? I think I might have missed that.
Yeah, they tested. So not this past year,
It was like
the
a training
previous
camp.
year. It was like a training camp. It was kind of like when the NFL does like the combine.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
draft combine. Yeah, love
It was
that.
just like that. It was just like that, and I thought it was genius, but they didn't bring it back.
Did you
But
just on that? Did you like it when they did the the very controversial like pawning off of the models, the female models to the different players? That was I would say that was one of the blunders at the ATP Next Gen. That I don't know. Do you remember that, JP, at all? It was like Shapovalov's year. I'm pretty sure it was like
I don't know. I don't remember
original.
this.
They had all these like models, like women, and they had like the names of the players. Like
oh
do you remember how this? Maybe
it
it's
was so bad.
traumatizing. I don't know, but they
It was
went and like drafted each other. They went like picked one of the girls and brought it with them. It was a total miss. It was funny.
no,
Anyways.
we don't talk about that. But
We'll move on.
On the women's side, they'll get the male models.
Yeah.
Look, as long as we're gonna do that, then fine.
As long as it's equal, that's all we want.
Yeah, that's all. Just get like 4 Berrettinis there, and we can do it.
Yeah.
But no, just jumping on what you said, JP, it's like Lerner Tien, Alex Mickelson, Jakub Mensik, Joao Fonseca. Who else was in there? Oh, Nishesh Basavareddy.
Yeah. Luca Van Asch,
Luca Van
Jerry
Asch.
Shang, Arthur Fees. Crazy
All
tournament.
beasts.
Yeah.
And if you look back that year that you were talking about, Anastasia, the Sinner year, which I was like, that's when I knew he was big time. And you go back to 2019 because that was 2019, and which is like a long time ago now. But he was a baby. I mean, he's still a baby, but he's #1 player in the world now. He's getting banned he's everywhere. He is him. But back then
he's a cyclist now.
Yeah, he can do whatever. The best thing is he's so dominant. He doesn't even have to play for 3 months, and he's not even going to lose his #1 ranking. Like he's just chilling. So this has turned out to be such a aura increasing thing. I think for Sinner, like I'm literally not even playing, and you guys like Alcaraz and Zverev aren't even getting closer. They're just they're like dropping points and gaining the same amount each week. But when Sinner in that tournament he destroyed Demon Hour, who's a couple years older. In one of these matches I was watching, he was hitting fake drop shot forehand, like slices. And it was like the only other player I'd seen do that is like Federer, essentially. And I was like, and then he was sliding into backhands like Djokovic. And he's just like, I was like, oh, this is the next evolution in tennis. Is like these like tall, skinny guys who can like slide, serve big, hit every shot in the book. And so like you're saying, this current gen of players really is exciting. And yeah, they definitely skipped over a few generations. So rest in peace to the lost gens. We love seeing Dimitrov out here still. He, what could have been if he was in a different era potentially. He's our guy. We all love him. But you got Jakub Mensik coming out of like the petri dish. Just like everything's perfect. I would guess he's 6'4".
Okay, so that was also another thing. I didn't realize how big this kid was.
Yeah.
I saw him standing next to Novak. I'm like, who is that guy?
He's
did
like
not
serve bot
realize he was that
material.
big.
It's like serve
Yeah.
bot material who can like rally with Novak and slide into things like you saw him yesterday. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So JP, what'd you like most about, I guess, Mensik's run? And it was interesting, Anastasia. Like, and I guess did you share this? Like, it sounds like, sorry, JP, it sounds like you, Anastasia, were like more confident that Mensik could give Djokovic a good final than Fritz could, which is no offense, Fritz.
Again, no offense, Fritz. I'm actually one of the biggest Fritz fans. You know, I think he has been Mr. Consistent, and every single year we always say, oh, who's the next American? Who's the next American coming up? Is it Ben Shelton? You know, is it Tommy Paul? It's always Fritz. Fritz is always the highest seeded American, and we need to give him more props for it. But in terms of matchup, I really just thought Mensik would give Novak a better, match. And I thought it would be more of a fight than if Fritz just got there one more time. I didn't know if that was going to be great.
That's a big call, but what do you think, JP?
I wonder, because I'm looking at like his schedule right now, and it looks like he played in the Challenger in between Indian Wells and Miami, and he lost in the semifinals. And I wonder if he is like one of the first players to ever lose in a Challenger and then go win a Masters 1000. He has to be, right?
That is actually great. That's a great poll, JP, because like I did not know that. And I would have assumed when you said Challenger, I was like, oh, he went to Phoenix. He didn't go to Phoenix. He went to the Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
And lost to, no offense, Dimitri Zoomer, who
I know, I'm trying to pull up his page.
No, he's been a top pro. He's been in the top 50 before, but he's like 5'10" and does not have anywhere near the game of Novak Djokovic. And then for Mensik, like you're saying, to come from the Dominican Republic, which is actually close, very close to Miami, but to come and just win, like, yeah, it's
dude. Well, and to come in and win, but also to come from Dominican, and then in the second round, you play against a guy that just won Indian Wells.
Yes.
So it's like I wonder if you're Mensik when he beats Draper, if that was his moment of like, okay, I'm feeling myself right now. I might make a deep run. But
and how long after he told that story of him having the paper in his hand that he was about to pull out of the tournament because his knee was bothering him? The guy's like on lunch. He's like, well, maybe let this trainer have one last look at it. Feels better. Is that like the next day he steps out there and beats Draper? So he's just like, yeah, let's give it a run these couple weeks here.
We gotta get that trainer on. We need to talk to him because he's got to be a hot commodity right now, about to get hired by every player.
Phone is ringing.
Yeah. No, man, it was awesome. I think it's cool to see it win. I think this is the new age of tennis where you truly never know who's going to win any given tournament. When Sinner comes back, he might ruin that if he just dominates like he has been. Hopefully, selfishly, I hope he doesn't, because I like seeing different winners, and it just gives each tournament a new feel, new stories, new players to be fans of. So then that's what this tournament was. It's like now I'm definitely going to be locked in more to Mensik.
Yeah. The Mensik train has left the station now. It's like if he didn't have the hype before, like he's got it now. He's done more in tennis now than any of those other teenagers that we mentioned as far as accolades. And I do think I've talked about this on the show, but not with you guys. Like I think a lot of the hype disparities, most of it can be rationalized actually if you think about it. Like I was looking up the population of Brazil like live on the show the other night, and it like blew my mind. I'm from Canada, which has 40 million people. Brazil has like 210 million people.
They're packed in there.
Yeah.
And like, okay, how many tennis stars do they have? Not too many. So
which also just means because they have that many Brazilians, there are a lot of them that live all around the world. So João Fonseca is going to roll up in whatever city, and he's going to find a pocket of Brazilians that are going to show up for him. Mensik is from the Czech Republic. It's not going to be as, I'm going to have like a full stadium of people cheering for him. So I get your point there with that sort of it makes sense kind of who's getting the hype and
there's
not.
10 million people in Czechia, formerly called the Czech Republic, which actually a commenter was saying, can you please call it the Czech Republic because the politicians changed the name on us? So I don't know what type of politics we're getting into here, but 10 million only to 210 million. And then in the US, there's like 40 different American players in the top 150 that you could cheer for. So Lerner Tien, like he's beat Medvedev. He's had, one or two good wins, but he's a teenager, but there's a lot of kind of other sports to get distracted by. But like Joao Fonseca, he's got the look. He's got, the 210 million Brazilians living everywhere around the world. So some of it makes sense to me. But then, Jakub, at the end of the day, results are what matter. So Jannik Sinner also wasn't the biggest superstar because he was pretty chill compared to Alcaraz. Yeah, but he's been winning more in the last 12 months. And the results matter. And Jakub Mensik is a Masters 1000 champion pretty much out of nowhere if you really think about it in the grand scheme of things. Because it's been very hard to win Masters 1000s on the men's side against, like, let's make a list of all the guys who haven't won it. A Masters 1000. Ben Shelton, Felix Auger-Aliassime, Denis Shapovalov, Tommy Paul, and almost like most of the top players that you mentioned haven't won one, and now Mensik has. So that's the men's side. That was incredible. Also incredible. JP and I's pre-tournament pick. Anastasia, was Sabalenka your pre-tournament pick to win the whole thing? Because it was JP and I's, and we're feeling good about ourselves because of that.
It wasn't. I don't do picks, actually. I don't ever. I'm just tennis. I love tennis because of the unpredictability of it.
Mhm.
Sometimes people look at draws and they're like, oh yeah, the number 1 guy has to beat the number 7. I'm like, no, he doesn't. He actually does not.
Right.
Well, I picked Mensik to win pre-tournament, so that's why I feel good about. I'm just kidding.
But so I didn't have a pick, but I was hoping Mira Andreeva would kind of, maybe try out that Sunshine Double and see how that fit. But am I surprised that Arina Sabalenka won? Not really. Not really.
Yeah.
Of course. Well, technically, Mira Andreeva did win the Sunshine Double. I tweeted out 3rd Masters 1000 in a row. She wins the doubles yesterday after the rain delay. So that girl is just winning in life. She seems just like to have such a great spirit about her, and unbelievable results on court now. She's 18, right? Or she's still 6? She's not 16. She's 18.
No, she's 18. Turning 19?
Yeah.
So young, so crazy. And so, but to me, Sabalenka, it was like, we were talking about it pre-tournament. It's like, if she'd lost this 3rd big final in a row, it would have been kind of crazy, JP. So like, I don't know. It felt like she was on a bit of a mission to beat Pegula there, and she wasn't going to be stopped.
And I don't think she will be stopped. It's like she's going to keep on winning until she gets to play Andreeva again and beat Andreeva. And then once that happens, she'll probably lose her very next match.
You think she's got like a bit of a revenge marking?
In the healthiest way possible.
Yeah.
Of just she's the ultimate competitor on the women's side, just so that she lets more of it out to the public. Obviously, they're all ultra competitive, but she gives you an insight into it. And that when she hits the practice court, how close her and her team are. Her team gives her jabs. Like, I know Andreeva, she's probably practicing 15 minutes longer, but you do you. So I'm excited. I can't wait for that next matchup.
I think that's part of why Sabalenka won Miami and why she could be kind of immune to the Vamos in Miami. Like, she was having fun. I saw her in all the pictures downtown in the Brick Hill region.
Her
having
second
a good
home.
time. I think she has a place there. Does she kind of live in Miami?
Yeah, she kind of lives there half the year.
So that's part of her advantage. So she's like immune to it. She has the fun, matches the vibe of the tournament, and it results in the W.
Yeah. But don't you also think, so for me with the women's side, I did not even pay attention to Sabalenka's side of the draw, because you would, every other day, you would turn around and be like, oh, Sabalenka did her thing.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Moving on. The other side of the draw was where all
chaos,
just the joy was.
Do you have insights, Anastasia, into Alexandra Eala? Like, was she on the other side of the draw, or am I messing that up? Because I would love, if you have any more insights into that story, if you could kind of recap it for us. It was like maybe the best story of the tournament.
The best story of the tournament, and So Alex Eala is someone who, I think if there was any player I thought I was a fan of, it would be Nadal. Like that's my guy. Um, so I've always paid attention to Nadal, the academy, the players coming out of the academy. So Alex Ayala is actually someone I've had on my radar for a while. She won I remember 2022, she won the junior US Open. And I thought, wow, this is really great. And she did make waves then because, again, she was from the Philippines. There were no other players from the Philippines. So her win actually made a little bit of waves in the junior scene. And it was like, oh my goodness, great. Like, hope she can come up and, start playing in the main tour. She did go pro, but the wins weren't there. Like, when you try and describe this run she had in Miami, you have to look back at her past record. She never made it past qualifying at a Grand Slam. Not once. She hadn't won back-to-back matches. She hadn't won back-to-back matches at the ITF level because that's where she was. So you get all of that. And then to come into Miami, and people keep skipping over Katie Volynets, and I'm here to raise my hand for Katie Volynets. Katie Volynets is a great player. She beat Katie Volynets, Yelena Ostapenko, which at this point you're like, give her the title. She already won by beating those two players. And then she goes Madison Keys and Iga Swiatek. Insane. Just like
Badosa mixed in there just for fun.
And you're just sort of like, she wasn't winning matches. She has not been in the main draw of a Grand Slam. And she does this. And then gives Pegula a run for her money. Pegula was so frustrated during that match because you could almost see her thinking, wait, so this girl's going to beat me right now? Like, what? I feel like that was Pegula's attitude the whole match.
Right.
So I think Alex Eala is a phenomenon, especially at this tournament, but also because of what she has done to get more Filipino fans into tennis.
Right.
We went viral on TikTok because of Alex Eala.
Shout out Ground Pass. Let's go.
I've been seeing that. You need to talk about her. She brings the views. Side note, 114 million people in the Philippines. Word.
Crazy. I've never seen anything like it. I remember when I posted the video, like, we're not big on TikTok. I don't pay attention to it. It wasn't even, I put out the video because I thought, oh, it's fun. I'm trying this new editing software. Let me just put a video together, post it on TikTok. It was the only place I actually put it first. I put that video on TikTok and I was like, okay, cool, bye. The next day, my phone was broken. It was just, I have never seen so many views, so many comments. People were like, we love her, we love her. And every comment was, we love Alex. We've never watched tennis before. It was basically
awesome.
every single comment. So imagine an entire country becoming fans of a sport that they were not before.
Yeah.
That's star power right there.
Yeah.
So
They might get a tournament.
Something. A 250, a 125.
They
pack it out.
Yeah. I mean, those are the best types of stories, and that's what tennis sets the stage for. It's for these players to just have breakouts, right? And then when they happen and these kind of this momentum snowballs, it's insane to watch. And you see it at different levels. You see it when there's like a 20 seed and they're making it through a tournament. But Alex Eala making it through, because she another part of the kind of the odds of her making it, like the craziness of her making it, she got a wild card in the main draw because she's an IMG client. So she wasn't even really supposed to be there. So another girl, Victoria Mboko from Canada, also got a wild card, IMG client, and won her first match and almost beat Badosa. But so, these all, wasn't supposed to be there, but proved that they should have been there. They just needed like a little kickstart. And I guess feel like maybe like after that first match, does someone like Eala just like kind of catch all that energy and momentum from the Filipino crowd and just like, we're gonna keep the party rolling? Like, I just don't know how she does that. Like, knowing how hard it is, because you always see upsets and then you see them lose the next round. It happens all the time, and it's fair enough.
Yeah.
But that she put together like 5 wins is absolutely crazy.
Yeah. I don't bet on sports, but I would have bet that there was no way she was beating Eala. I would have put
Right.
a lot of money on that.
Yeah.
So for her to do that and also change her game to do that, because she wasn't playing the way she played Iga. She didn't play Madison Keys like that. Like she was, again, I feel like this might be a big moment for her. Maybe this
Right.
was what she needed to prove to herself that she can be at this level. And hopefully she can carry that forward, because Alex Eala is the sort of player you want at the top of the game only because of the fans they bring in. It just makes tennis a bigger sport, and it's great for the sport that you want to see someone like her in all of the draws. And now she's I think she's 75 in the world. So she's finally going to get direct entry into Grand Slams and finally play that, main draw match. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what she can do.
Yeah, it's gonna be. She's just such a great personality to have in there, and then like having that country represented. Like it is funny to me how international tennis gets. Like it becomes kind of like this quasi Olympic sport when even at the majors, right? Like the US are like they're cheering for the American fans, and the US Canada, we got this whole thing going on right now. I've been bugging JP about it. How Canada won the 4 Nations. I'm Canadian, if you didn't know, Anastasia. How Canada won the 4 Nations. You guys are terrifying us. We're not super happy about that. We'll figure it out. It's kind of like siblings fighting. I feel like we're we're getting picked on by the older brother. We'll figure it out. Like we kind of hate you right now, but we're not.
Yeah, I'm big bro in this case. Just to put that out there.
You are big bro. You are big bro. Congrats. And big because he's big like this with the muscles, and that's what he wanted you to know. Because we met in person, so we were joking earlier, Anastasia. He was saying that he could out squat Jannik Sinner.
We have to have that as the clip.
Hey, and I was like, there is no chance, brother. Like we had not met in person, and I was like, hey, I'm sure you go to the gym, but these guys go to the gym too. And Sinner's not as small as he looks on TV. Like it's all virtual. We were all saying this hypothetically. And I met JP in person, and I think he could do it.
And look, this isn't I'm not like a crazy, overly strong person at all. I work for 2 NFL guys. Like I see the levels, and when I see somebody like Sinner, I just know. Now, look, if he was training, he could get me, but he's not training to like lift heavy, do heavy squats, max out his bench press. So that's why I feel confident. Not in my, I'm a very average built person, but Sinner can catch this work.
Yeah, it's different strengths. But I think that's the one thing about being at these tournaments that today was the pre-tournament media day for Charleston, and Amanda Anisimova comes in, and I'm like, she's taller than me. Like I always feel like I'm taller than these girls. Amanda Anisimova is tall. So
How tall are you, Anastasia?
Huh?
How tall are you?
I'm about 5'7", 5'8". She has to be like 5'11", 5'10". Like she's tall.
Some of these players are just they're all athletes. I walked by Bedoza. This is a funny story. I walked by Bedoza in our hotel on the way when we were leaving the tournament, and this was after she played Victoria Mboko. And I was like, I said something to her about it. I was like, hey, great. I was like, hey, we're Canadian, great match. We saw you play Victoria. Like, what do you think about her? And she was like, said amazing player. Like she's gonna be top in the WTA soon. But she's like just her physique, like she's like just strong. Like I'm like all these athletes are just so prime. Like they walk around the hotels and you're just like, geez, like you guys are just athletes. I'm like, Bedoza could snap me in half, I think, respectfully. So Anastasia, we got about 5 minutes left here before commercial break. Before I'm actually going on another podcast tonight. It's been an insane day for media, breaking down the media or the Miami Open, but Can you give us a little breakdown of that? Was awesome about Eala, because sounds like you're the #1 TikTok influencer who has the information about her to give. So we got this source of truth here, which is great. But give us a breakdown of what Ground Pass is about and what you've been doing in tennis media and where people can find you.
Yeah, so Ground Pass is a tennis podcast, and we call ourselves like our first tagline was like, we're the tennis podcast for the casual fan. But in all honesty, we're here for new fans who maybe don't know much about the sport. Like some of our first few episodes were about like, how do you score tennis and what are grand slams? And so we were like really going in depth in all of what those things were. But we try to focus on tennis tournaments and getting people to attend tennis tournaments on a Ground Pass, because we feel like if you attend a tennis tournament and you see these players play in real life, you're a fan forever. Like I haven't met anyone who's been to a tennis tournament who's like, maybe like that. It's a very, very attractive sport. And a lot of people after attending these tournaments really enjoy it. And we also want to show that you don't need $1 million to go to a tennis tournament. Because I think in the zeitgeist,
For
people
sure.
just, they see that Arthur Ashe ticket price and they're like, oh my goodness, tennis, I could never. And, at Indian Wells, qualifying was $10 at Indian Wells. And you got everything. You got to see the whole site. You got to see great tennis. You got to see all of the stars also practicing on court.
Yeah.
So you got the entire experience for $10. And I think people just don't realize how accessible it is. So that's what we try to do on Ground Pass. We're everywhere. We're on Instagram. We're viral on TikTok.
Let's go.
But we're mostly a podcast as well. So yeah, we're all over the place.
That's amazing. Yeah, and I completely share that sentiment with you. Like I've always said, go early to the tournaments, get the Grounds Pass. You get like buying a one-off ticket for like the Central Court at any tournament's a bit of a rookie move, I would say. Because you really don't get the full. I mean, you do get the Grounds Pass with the ticket as well, but if you have the ticket, you'll probably just go sit there and you'll miss so much stuff that's going on outside. Yeah. we love having your voice in the. I mean, and how long have you been covering tennis in general?
Only a couple of years. As long as the podcast has been going. So I'm new to the covering tennis field, but I'm enjoying it. It's fun. It's great.
You crush it.
Were you a tennis fan before or
you.
just media?
Oh yes, I've been a tennis fan since I understood what sports was. I've always loved tennis. I obviously started with the Williams sisters, but very quickly became a Nadal fan, and I've always been sort of like in that Nadal universe.
Yeah, word. In our age demographic, it's you either came into tennis because of the Williams sisters, Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, or Andy Murray.
Yeah.
One of those people. Yeah. One of those people probably represents 99% of the tennis fans from the 90s.
And now Alex Eala.
Come on.
Word. You know what? I'm gonna clip that whole section about her, make a video for the YouTube, and just see how it does. Because I want to go search Google Trends Philippines, see what the searches for her did in the last couple of weeks, because that's gonna be crazy. And one of those untapped kind of markets. So I'm sure there are some like low level ITF events in the Philippines, and I would love to like see what those are and then go there or like and keep an eye on them for next year or whenever they are and see if like maybe goes and plays and see what happens, because that'd be that would just be super cool to see.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, thanks Anastasia for joining the Slice. JP, we should continue on and quickly touch base on the comments from last week, because we always promise our viewers that we will do that. So Anastasia, if you can, I'm sure got a ton of stuff to do in Charleston, as sounds like you just got there. You've been battling rain, battling the weather, trying to get it all. We know it's overwhelming when you first get to a tournament, so we wish you luck covering Charleston. And thank you so much for coming on the pod. We'll definitely do it again.
Yes,
awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
JP, before we let the viewers go, before I let you go, let's quickly touch on the comments from last time.
Let's do it.
And I have some sad news, JP.
Uh-oh.
Some very sad news.
What
Our
happened?
guy,
No, Geo Air Travel.
our guy Geo Air Travel might have broken the trend, the streak. Yep.
That hurts. That hurts.
It hurts different because we thought we were friends.
Right. But hey, as friends, we need to give him a 1 week grace period.
Correct. That's totally correct because he's commented I think multiple times before on videos, so that
Right.
covers a missed week, which is totally fine. First comment from Lane 777, who is a regular commenter. Another banger. The slice never disappoints. Keep up the great work. Was sad to see Andreeva lose, but what an incredible streak she was on. Definitely my favorite WTA player now.
Let's go, Lane. I love you throwing your opinion in there. For any new commenters out there, this is a great template.
Yeah.
You give a little compliment to the slice, then you share an opinion and you leave it out there for the rest of the people to chew up and digest. So great job, Lane.
Yes. And Marisukui 8330 says,
I think Mari Suzuki.
Okay. Wait, you can read? Because I can't read. So that's helpful. Thank you, JP. Mari Suzuki 8330. Sunshine Trouble, laughy face, indeed.
That's got to make you feel good because you came up with that title.
I came up with that title, and I really think I maybe had seen that somewhere, but I thought that maybe I didn't. I don't think I did. I think I just came up with it, and I haven't really seen anyone else use it, which is kind of shocking to me.
And she, Miss Suzuki, she recognized game. Game recognized game.
Thank you, Mrs. Suzuki. Sundance. Do you have this next one up here? Do you want to read this next one?
Yeah, I can read it. WTF, is no one going to talk about the elephant in the room? You all surely know what the problem. These players are incredible athletes, but they are not robo players. If the top players are going to be consistent, they need to have the time for human beings to let their biological bodies recover. Tennis can thrive without destroying the game. And Roseville Woman 2055 replied, totally agree.
Well, you're gonna say it or me. We just had a guy on the podcast. We just interviewed Vasek Pospisil, who's talking exactly about making changes in the game through the PTPA. So yeah, I think there's going to be changes. We only had him for 20 minutes. We probably could have had him for longer, to be honest. But I did want to ask about the balls, about the 2-week events. Those are, to me, like the main culprits that no one likes. No one likes the changes of the balls, and I haven't heard a single person talk positively about the 2-week Masters 1000s. Like, the players hate it from what I've seen. The staff of the ATP hate it. I don't really love it. It's, I'd rather have more density. But anyway, so
we're with you, Sundance. We're with you.
We feel, yeah. Anyway, so we are with you, but now we're without you because we do have to sign off. But that's been a action-packed hour of the podcast, JP. Any final words?
Go follow Grounds Pass podcast with Anastasia. Follow Vasek. Follow The Slice. Follow Steven's personals. Follow my personals. Follow everyone, man. Follow everybody you see on YouTube this week. That's my advice for everybody for this week.
That's good advice. And if you do, you're going to be more tuned in to the tennis. And yeah, I don't know why. Sometimes at the end of these 2 weeks, I get tired, but it lasts about 6 hours. Now I'm already stoked. Talking about Alex Eala gets me. I want to see the next tournament she plays. I can't wait. I can't wait to see Jakub Mensik. What's going on? What's he going to do in his next tournament? We got the clay swing up next, but we are out here from the Slice presented by Betway. Thanks for being here. We will see you next time on the show.